shoulder. You know, usually it's from here in the center. That's like the most basic. But you know, if you wanted to have it somewhere else, you could. You're the designer.
I think you said there's no dart in the shoulder.
For the back. So if you have your princess line coming from the shoulder, you can use this torso sloper and you just so this is one side of the princess line and this is the other side of the princess line. Okay, so this works perfectly if it's coming from the shoulder, but if it's coming from the armhole, I didn't want you to have a dart there, because then you're going to have your princess line and then a dart. And what's the point of having the princess line and having this weird dart here too? Kind of messes up your look, right? So that's why I was showing you how to do it without, I wanted you to use the one dart sloper. But if you're doing a strapless design, it doesn't matter. You're not even using this area, right? So it depends on your design. So some of you, it might not matter. You can go ahead and make your sloper with the dart, but some of you might want to make your torso sloper without the dart. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's just say it looks like it's coming down the center, right? So it looks like it's coming pretty much down the center here, all right? So the first thing I need to do though is trace, like we always do. I already drew my grain line. Make sure you always draw your grain line to line up your sloper on, and then we're going to trace it just like we've always been doing. You don't even have to think about it. You guys are used to doing this. So I'm going to transfer my armhole. I'm going to transfer this dart. I'm going to transfer these darts. So you have a brand new torso sloper, so you're going to have to punch your holes. So you need to punch at the waist on both sides of the dart, and then you need to punch at the vanishing point. And then you can punch at the apex too. You do need that actually, because we definitely want to be marking our apex. So apex, vanishing point, dart legs, vanishing points, the outside of each dart, bottom of the dart. You want to get all of those transferred, right? So if you notice down here, I didn't transfer the end because this is where you're designing. Where do you want the seam to be? So based on her sketch, I need to know. So some of you might have it going all the way down to here, right? I know, like she had some designs that were way down here, right? She's gonna be walking like that, right? Yeah. So hers is ending maybe a little bit higher, you know, so you're eyeballing it. It doesn't look like it's going all the way down the 7.5. It's more of a high hip. So I know she wanted it more of a high hip. So high hip is usually 4 inches down. Yeah. So you get to decide. You're the designer. So let's just say 4 inches down. You can eyeball it, you can measure it, you can look at your dress form and measure it on your dress form. Knock yourself out how you want to figure it out. So this is like 4 inches. So that's where I want to stop and kind of square out a line, and then I'm going to mark 4 inches on here too, because that's where I want it to end. So now that I've got all of this marked, then I can pull this away. So I also need to know, and then this down here, before I move on to the neckline, you can stylize this line, right? I mean, it could be like this, right? It could be like this, you know, it could be straight across. It's up to you. And on her sketch, it looks pretty straight. So I'm just gonna go with what I'm seeing on her sketch, because that's what you guys are gonna do. If you wanna start changing while you're pattern making your design, I caution against doing that, because then you're gonna just get yourself confused and fall behind and everything. So don't mess around too much. I'm gonna go ahead and draw in these darts before I forget. So I wanna go ahead and transfer these darts. And I'm gonna just I always put a little cross at the apex so I know that's my apex. I'm gonna draw in these darts too. And then I also need to figure out what my neckline is. So based on my sketch, what is my neckline? Is it a scoop neck? Is it a halter neck? Is it strapless? What is it? Just a little simple jewel neck? Is there a collar? She's got a collar. So are you ready to do your collar?
Yeah, this was another design I thought.
So this has a square neck, right? So, you know, she might need to use the contour guide. So some of you are doing strapless designs or a halter design. You're gonna have to make a contour guide. So that means you're gonna have to do an extra step, and I'm gonna give you 20 points extra credit. So if you need extra credit, there's only a few of you that need extra credit. None of you are here, but if you need extra credit, the 20 points would help, okay? So I can show you how to make the contour guide. It's straight out of the book. It's just like what you did with the other one. You're gonna get another piece of manila, and you're gonna draw the radius, and you're gonna do your number 5, you're gonna do your number 1, 2, all those contour guides so that you can bring in your neckline, okay? And your bust, between the busts. So this is kind of like, so your princess line, is it, how far away? So think about this, where the seam is and where her shoulder ends. So if her princess line is gonna be here, I don't want my neckline to be on top of this, right? So, you know, it's gonna have to come in in somewhat, you know, and figure out how low you want your neckline. So I'm just gonna go for it. I don't want to be here all day, but say this is like the neckline. So you're gonna figure out your neckline and draw it in, and always square off the center front, and you can use your rulers to true it up. I'm just quickly mocking that in. So I've got my waist, I've got a neckline. So now I'm gonna work on that princess line. You start, figure out where it's gonna start, decide it's the shoulder. It needs to pass through the apex, and I made some samples right here. It needs to pass through this first dart. So,
Down the middle?
yeah, down the middle. So, you can use your curves, you can, you know, go layer the curves like this if you want, yeah. It's up to you if you want to draw it in by hand. Much easier. So now one side is going to come this way, right? So remember, this means yes, the little circles. When I'm pattern making, this is how I communicate. And if you do this, it helps me. So I can just quickly look at your design and I'm like, that's the line. If you guys have a bunch of different lines because you've been correcting and they're all the same color and you haven't done this, I don't know what line it is. And I'm spending a lot of time with you guys. Do it like this and I know what line it is. If you've made a mistake, what if you made a line like this and it was a mistake? You go like this. That tells me no. That tells me right away I know that's not the correct line. You can also use colored pencils too, if that's what you want to do. So now on this side, I'm going to go like this and make the other side, all right? And you can use your curve and curve this out, make it pretty. And this is my line on this side, okay? This dart stays. So we're leaving this dart, and I'm gonna draw. I like to have this line because when I'm sewing, this line is helpful. I also wanna draw a line through the center of my dart because we're gonna be pivoting to get rid of this dart. We wanna get rid of this side dart. We're gonna do that right now. So I'm finding the center. Should be right through the apex, yeah. So there's the center of my dart. I'm gonna put the line all the way through, like that. Okay, so this is really important to do this. And then I need my notches. Remember when we did the strapless design, I kept saying 2 inches above, we need a notch, 2 inches below, we need a notch. So let's put our notches in. So this notch, actually you should use your ruler. So this notch here is gonna connect these two pieces together. We want them to be correct. And this too. We're also gonna have a notch at our apex. I think it's really helpful to have a notch there. And then I think you should have another notch down here because this is on the torso sloper. It's a big long piece. So I'm gonna put another notch somewhere below the waist. So I want you to have a notch about 2 inches above the apex, 2 inches below, and somewhere below the waist. So from that 2-inch notch below the apex, we're gonna do 1, 2, so like 3 inches below that notch, we'll do another one, okay? So we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4 notches. So this, I'm gonna be looking for this when I'm grading your pattern. That's really important. Then you can start cutting it out so we can do the next step. And I'm gonna just show you the one more step and then that's it. I'm not gonna do the back right now. I think you guys are good. So the back is the same thing. You know, you trace it off. If you're doing a shoulder dart, you're gonna cut through this dart leg and go through the closest dart to the center back, and you'll cut through this dart leg on the other side and come through, okay? Just like the front. And you don't have to have any other steps besides that. If you wanna come from the shoulder, the armhole, make sure you come through and you're on this side, this dart leg, got it? And then on this dart leg, like that. If you're coming from your neck, same thing. Make sure you're passing through the vanishing point on that dart leg on one side and that on the other side, okay? If it's strapless, then you're gonna have this dropped, you're gonna use your contour guide, and you're gonna draw this out, and we did it already in class. We did the strapless, and I showed you how to do the princess, right? But if you need me to work with you, if you have questions, I'm happy to show you on your own, one-on-one, okay? All right, so let's cut on this line. So now I'm basically adding seam allowance.
You have to pivot it down.
Right, but on this piece, all I have to do is add seam allowance. This piece is almost done, right? So you can just cut this away and you can true up your curve, add the seam allowance and the notches, cut out your neck, right? So that one's almost done. Grain lines, right? So this one though, I'm gonna pivot that dart out. I'm gonna show you how to do that. So you guys probably already know, but just in case, we can do a review. If you want to smooth this out and change that up, you can do that. You can make this less angular if it's looking funny. That's up to you. I mean, I'm gonna kind of smooth it out. I don't want it that angular. If you want to do a little test in muslin of this portion of your garment and cut it out in muslin and just pin it or sew it really quick and try it out on your dress form, you can do that too and see how it's fitting. So this same thing that we always do, slice through the center of the dart up to the apex, to but not through, and same thing over here, to but not through. And then I'm just gonna pivot my dart closed, and then I'm gonna open it up right here. So dart leg, this dart leg attaches to that dart leg, and I tape it, and the apex opens up just a teeny bit, barely opened up at all, huh? And so now that dart is closed. Okay, and then you're gonna, oops, you know, the other thing, I always forget. Before you cut away, you wanna transfer your grain line. So on this one, right? On this one, it's easy. We know where our grain line is. And if it's on the fold, then it's gonna be bent, right? Right? There's two different types of grain lines. So I want mine on the fold. Is her sketch on the fold? Is there a seam down the center? No. So on the fold. So on this one, while there's still, before you cut it out, you want to transfer your grain line. So you're just gonna measure over from your center front like this, line up your ruler on it, and put this back. Draw your line like this, or you cut it away. So let me measure this. So 10, make sure this is 10, yep. So now I can have my grain line before I cut it away. It's a lot easier. So I like to make my princess line dress with this piece on the bias. If you have, I mean, if you have a stripe or a plaid or something, I would do this on the bias. If you have a solid, then don't. But it's fun to do this on the bias, then you don't have to worry about the stripes matching or the print maybe. You know, if you have some sort of print, stripe, polka dots, think about that, because it's really hard to get this seam matched up and looking nice. So I don't know, a trick to get around that is put this on the bias and it gives a cool effect. But yeah, I don't know, didn't really see many, she's got prints, many people using prints though. Okay, any questions? Yeah. So then now you just add seam allowance, right? And all your notches.
Yeah.
And labels.
You said before we cut it, we were supposed to add the grain line.
Yes, I always forget.
Okay.
It's a lot easier before you cut them away, add your grain line, because then it's just one piece of paper, right? And you can just go like this. Okay. So I use this grain line, I line up my ruler and transfer it over to the other side, just like that. Do you see how I'm lining up my ruler on this straight line? I'm lining it up on the 12. And I transfer, and I'll line it up on the 12, transfer, line it up on the 12, transfer.